Suleiman, and I'll be driving our session today. Okay, so good to have all of you join us on this amazing session. If you know anybody who you think can benefit from today's session, please reach out to them, share the message with them, and get them on board. Today, I'll be showing you practical steps. Okay, nothing theoretical, practical steps on the things I would do differently if I needed to land a job desperately. Okay, so if I'm desperate, what do I need to do? And I'm going to walk you through success stories, practical steps that real people like you who joined a session like this decided to get started, jump into one of the career paths. And today they've landed jobs across multiple areas. So if you know somebody who's been trying to land a job and has been finding it difficult, reach out to them, share the link with them, and let's have an amazing time together. All right. Before we dive into the main meat of our session, I want to know where you are joining us from. If you are joining from London in the UK, joining from Lagos in Nigeria, joining us from Ghana, Accra, Ghana, type into the chat where you are joining us from. I'm joining from Alberta, Canada. I'm also going to type mine in the chat. Okay, so we have Achu from Ireland, Ghana. Alice, welcome to our session today. London, England, UK, Alberta, England, Vancouver, fantastic. China, absolutely phenomenal. Jack, you're welcome to the session today. Liverpool, Derby, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So let's get started. Like I mentioned, our session today would center around practical steps to what you should do differently if you want to land a job in 2025. Okay, so we'll have an amazing session, and I want you to take out all distractions. If you think you'll be distracted for today's session, take out all distractions, go to somewhere quiet so you don't have any distractions eventually. All right. Feel free to ask questions. I want us to have an amazing, amazing interactive session together. And before we wrap up, we'll have a Q&A. Okay. So if you have questions, you can pen your questions down. You'd have the opportunity to ask those questions, or you can type your questions in the chat from time to time. I have my colleagues in the chat. They'll take those questions and I would also look at them and I'll pop in from time to time and take questions we have in the chat. So what would I do differently and what should you start doing if you really want to land a job across the different economies? But before we get started, who are we at Tenalytics? Tenalytics is a leading educational technology company focused on helping Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to land high-paying jobs, especially within the tech ecosystem. Over the last 4 years, going into the 5th year, we've helped over 2,855 and counting to land jobs across the different economies from the UK to Canada to the US, Africa, and so on and so forth, and across different areas spanning across data analytics, cybersecurity, agile project management, HR analytics, data engineering. And I'll be sharing with you how you can also make that transition. We've helped people who are carers, care workers become business analysts. We've had people who were accountants back in their home country, but today they are project managers. How can you also do the same? No prior knowledge, no prior experience, but they were able to make that transition. And for me, I'll be leading the session today. My name is Adaiza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience in data analytics, management consulting, data science, and so on. I'm the founder of Tenalytics and the co-founder of Amdari, two educational technology platforms that have helped thousands of people to make the transition into landing their very first jobs in the tech ecosystem. For me, I have no prior technology background or technology education. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, just like so many of you, but I was able to make the switch. And I'll show you how and why it's possible, irrespective of where you're coming from. It doesn't matter what you've done before. You can also make that transition. And the reason why you want to get into this particular industry or specific career path I'll be highlighting is simply because these are the career paths that are in demand. These are the career path employers are hiring for. So why go for other career paths where you don't have the demand and you struggle for years to land a job? My experience spans across data science consulting in Canada, in the UK, and in the US. I've worked as a data analyst, management information systems analyst with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. I've worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee. My experience spans across multiple sectors. I started out in sports. I moved to financial services, educational technology, energy, and I moved into the automobile sector when I moved to the UK. So I'll be sharing my experience as I move along our session today. All right. So before we get started on the things that you need to do differently, if I were you, the things I'll do differently in 2025. And like I mentioned, this is coming from years and decades of experience of helping people like you to make that transition. All right. It's going to sound a bit of it would sound straightforward and simple, but then when we get into the details, the nitty-gritty, you start to understand why people that have landed jobs actually landed those jobs because they followed a methodical, strategic process, one step at a time. All right. So let's jump in. Now, one of the first things you want to do, which I always advise people, is you want to learn. Okay. I know it's a cliche. Everybody says that investing in yourself, self-development is where you want to be. But that's the first thing you want to do. But when you are learning this time around, you're not learning any particular skill. You're not learning all the conventional skills your friends are learning. You are learning skills. You are learning career paths that you have researched, and you know that these are the career paths where the opportunities are, based on my location, based on where the world is going, and also the jobs employers are hiring for, the roles employers are hiring for. So when you look at the first step you need to take, there are 8 different areas, 8 focus areas, and I'll list them one after the other, from data analytics to data science to data engineering, business analysis, cybersecurity, financial analytics, agile project management, and last but not the least, HR analytics. Now, we're going to understand how these 8 in-demand career paths came about. Why these 8? Why data analytics? Why data science? We'll get into the why in the next few minutes. But the most important point here is if I've identified a high in-demand career path, I want to focus. Okay. And this is where a lot of people struggle. They don't know how to focus. Focus is not doubling down and ensuring that I'm going to do this thing. I start and I ensure that I finish. That's not focus. Focus is the elimination of alternatives. Okay. There are 8 different career paths right here. And for so many people, I've seen this mistake so many times. You'd have somebody who has, business analysis skills, but then their friend just got a job as a cybersecurity analyst. So they also want to get a job as a cybersecurity analyst, and they ditch their business analysis skills and they start pursuing cybersecurity. Or they're learning data analytics, and then their friend who, is also in the same country landed a job as a software tester. They ditch their data analytics career path and they want to dive into software testing. So you want to focus and ensure that I'm going to eliminate all the alternatives. What are the alternatives? Out of these 8 career paths, I would focus on only one. So let's assume I want to focus on agile project management. I would focus on that, eliminate all the other 7, and I would ensure that I'm the best at doing agile project management. So that's the first thing you want to do. Identify in-demand career path. These are the career paths that would get me a job. I'm not going to learn something where I would struggle to land a job. So that's the first thing you want to do. Then you move to the second step, which I dare say is even more important than the first: packaging. You must know how to package yourself. Okay. The best person the best agile project manager does not get the job. The best data analyst who knows how to use Excel, who is an Excel expert, a Power BI expert, does not get the job. The person that gets the job is the person that knows how to package. And packaging is simply presenting and positioning yourself as the best candidate for the job. You want to position yourself as the best candidate for that job. That's all about packaging. And of course, it comes with so many things that you'd have to do. And like I said, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how you can get this done exactly. So you have the CV. You must have the right CV. Your CV, your LinkedIn are your digital representations. Okay. A hiring manager, a potential employer would likely see your CV and your LinkedIn first before they get to see you. So is your CV keyword optimized? Are you the type that use one CV to apply to multiple jobs? Do you have an industry standard CV with the right formats that can pass the ATS? Okay, PARSE, pass the ATS, the applicant tracking software. So a human being does not see your CV at the initial stage. Okay. It's only at the second stage that a real human being would get to see your CV. So usually organizations have something called the applicant tracking system or the applicant tracking software. And what this tool does, it looks at the keywords from the job requirements, the job that has been, put up for application and the vacancies. It looks at the job requirements and the keywords from the requirements and looks at your CV and would match your CV to that job requirement. Sometimes you score 70%, sometimes you score 90%. If you score 70%, you're not going to get invited for an interview. So at the minimum, you want to have 90% plus. And you need to know how to do the job matching yourself before you even put in your application in the first place. So you must have the right CV, you must have the right LinkedIn. And again, more importantly, in positioning yourself, you must have a portfolio. All right. You not having a portfolio is equivalent, or let me ask this question. Okay. I ask this question a lot, but let me ask your group because I know we have quite a number of new people joining our session today. My colleagues would post the attendance form from time to time in the chat for you to get access to my slides, to the class recording, the session recording. Make sure you fill the attendance form. If you have questions, drop the questions in the chat. My colleagues will respond to the question. And at the end of our session, we'll have a Q&A. But let me ask my question. Imagine you want to buy a couch. You're doing some renovations in your home. You want to buy a couch and you have two carpenters you are considering, carpenter A and carpenter B. Carpenter A has a CV, has a certificate, has, paper documents to show that they've undergone carpentry training and they're the best in the building of different couches. They were the best in their class when they learned carpentry. Then you have carpenter B, who has a showroom. You can walk into that carpenter showroom. You can see the different couches that they've constructed over the last couple of months, over the last couple of years. You can touch the couch, feel the couch, see the quality, and you can see what they've done. Which of these carpenters would you select to get your couch from? Carpenter A that has a CV and certificates to show he's gone for training, or carpenter B that has a showroom. You can walk into the showroom, you can see the couches. Which of these two carpenters would you select? Which of these two carpenters would you select? Okay, a carpenter B, 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 B. Okay, fantastic. Everybody says B, and that's rational. Emmanuel is asking, does packaging come at a different cost? No, not at all, Emmanuel. But we're going to get there. Okay, I would explain every single thing you need to know, but no, it doesn't. That's the direct answer. Everybody selects Carpenter B, and the reason is simply because Carpenter B has evidence that they've done the job before. Everybody wants to see evidence. Everybody wants to be confident that you can do the job because you've done it before. I can see what you've done. I can touch it, feel it, and then I get comfortable to do what? To give you the contract, to do my own couch. It's a no-brainer. If you don't have a portfolio as a data analyst, as an agile project manager, as a cybersecurity professional, as a HR analyst, you would struggle to land a job. Your portfolio is equivalent to that Carpenter B because your portfolio is your showroom. And I'll show you what a portfolio looks like and how you can build one. Remember, if you really want to land a job, you are desperately in search of a job, these are the things you must do. Okay, step by step in a methodical manner. And I'll show you how you can implement them one after the other. And people who have done them and they've thrived, they've gotten jobs, they are doing amazingly well, and so on. So you must have a portfolio. You must also have mentors. Mentorship, the importance of mentorship cannot be overemphasized. You need to interact with people who have done it before. If you want to get a job as a data analyst, you need to have a data analyst mentor that can tell you what that job entails, the things you need to look out for, especially for data analysts within your own region. So say you're in London, for example, you're in the UK, you want to land a job. You need to have a data analyst who has worked in the UK and who can guide you through. All right. Then interview prep. When you eventually land interviews, you get invited for interviews. What do? Do you go to YouTube to prepare? Or how do you prepare for interviews? Do you use ChatGPT to prepare? The best way for you to prepare for your interviews is to get interview preparation from somebody, an expert within that space. If you have an interview for a business analysis role, you want to get prepared by a business analyst who has done that job, who has industry experience, and can preempt the questions you're likely going to get asked. Absolutely important if you want to land a job. If not, you would keep on learning from your failures at every single interview you attend. So you attend the first interview, you fail. You learn from it, you go for the second one, you fail again, and you keep on learning from your mistakes. So why learn from your mistakes when you can simply prepare well ahead of time and ensure that you perform very well during your interview? And then you must also have a reputable organization to provide you with references. So think about it. You currently work in the warehouse, you currently work as a carer, you currently work in a hotel, or whatever the case is. Ask yourself the question, when I land a job as a business analyst, where do I get my reference from? Do I get it from the care home? Will a care home vouch for me that I have business analysis skills? It doesn't add up. So what you want to do is also have a reputable organization that can vouch for you. All right. And finally, under your packaging is on the job support. Now, there was somebody who came to me sometime last year. He got a job as a cybersecurity, as a penetration tester. Okay. Now, how did he get the job? Somebody attended the interview on his behalf. Okay, so he got the interview and somebody, impersonated him and did the interview for him. So he got the job. But here came the problem. He didn't know how to do the job. So he told me that at Adeza was very embarrassing because I got the job. I used to work from home. So whenever I got any task I needed to complete, I send it to that person and the person does the job. But then my manager told me to start working from the office. So I had to resume from the office. And whenever I had a task, I really could not complete it until I got home. Because of course he didn't know how to do the job. Okay, which was a bloody mistake on his own part. It was a big mistake. You never want to be in that situation. You never want to be in a situation where you cannot do the job you've been hired to do. So that was how he lost the job eventually, because his line manager started to see the cracks and see the gaps, from what he said he could do to what he could actually do. And he told me there was a particular time when he was trying to do something, and his manager came to his back and was watching what he was doing, and he really couldn't do it. So he got fired. All right. For us at 10 Analytics, you don't find yourself in that situation because of the way you learn the skills and the technologies to enable you to do the job. And even if you find yourself on the job and there is a particular project that is a bit difficult for you to complete because perhaps you've not worked on such a project before, you have on-the-job support, somebody that can guide you. We don't do the job for you, but we guide you. We look at the problem and we advise you on how to approach problems like that. So you have on-the-job support as well. If you don't have this packaging, you could be the best in anything, any of these career paths I've listed, but you'd still struggle to land a job. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into packaging and exactly how you revamp your CV, your LinkedIn, your portfolio. What does a portfolio look like, Adeza? You've been talking about portfolio. What does it look like? And I'll show you exactly what it looks like. Now, once you've gone past the learn phase, you've gone to packaging, the final phase is apply. Apply like a machine, all right? And this is where people make mistakes. I've interacted with so many people who tell me that, Adeza, I want to join one of your programs, but I've been trying to get a job. It's been so difficult. And when I ask questions, I get to realize that this person saying he cannot land a job or land an interview has been applying to just 5 jobs or 2 jobs in a week. So the question is, how do you want to land a job when you apply to just 2 to 5 jobs in a week? On the average, for you to land an offer with an organization, you need to have applied to an average of 267 applications. You need to have put in 267 applications, and not just anyhow applications that are tailored applications. So if you're that person that does easy apply on LinkedIn, or you take one CV, you use that to apply to multiple jobs, you would apply to thousands and thousands of jobs, and you'd never get called for an interview. Okay, simply because you haven't tailored. In 2025, with all the technologies, hiring managers, recruitment managers, organizations use to filter to hire the best candidates, you can't just do the easy apply and expect to land a job. Hiring managers are paranoid, so they don't get somebody who shouldn't be in that particular company. They don't want a bad hire. So you must tailor every single application. Never reuse a CV. A CV you've used before, never use it again. All you have to do is tailor that CV to the new job you're applying to. Okay? Then you must send out a minimum of 10 applications per day. So when you've learned the skills to a reasonable level, you are confident in your ability to do the job. You start to look for jobs that require the skills you have at that particular point in time. Start putting out applications, 10 applications per day on the average. And finally, you must also tap into the hidden job market and the paid job boards. So one mistake you make is you assume that I'm going to apply on LinkedIn, I'm going to apply on Glassdoor, I'm going to apply on CV Library, on Workopolis, on all the conventional job boards, and you expect to get different results from your counterparts and from your friends. Your results will be exactly the same because you're applying to the same set of jobs that they are applying to. Everybody, millions of people have access to. So what we always advise is get access to paid job boards. All right? Job boards that come with subscription. Access to agencies that request for your type of profile. So what we do at 10 Analytics is we pay to these job boards: UK Visa Jobs, Visa Jobs HQ, Built-in, Flex Jobs, the most popular job boards. We pay to them, and we scrape jobs from those job boards and we send them to our participants. So our participants apply to jobs that are not available to the general public. All right. A lot of people would never pay to get access to, job boards like that. So we subscribe and we scrape those jobs, we send to our participants. So they apply to unique jobs that are not available to everyone. Recruitment agencies also reach out to us, submit CVs and profiles for data analysts, business analysts, financial analysts, and we send those CVs to them. So you want to find yourself in a community where you have those type of opportunities. And it's only when you're able to go through these 3 steps, you would land that job. All right? Learn, package, and apply. That's the concept. And these are the principles you have to follow. And I'll show you a very quick success story. The reason why I'm showing Judith, we had an interview with Judith last week. Judith was a carer in the UK. She worked as a care worker in the UK. Today, Judith is a business analyst. But how did she do it? She worked as a carer. She really never couldn't get interviews for the type of jobs that she wanted. All right. She was doing a master's in the UK, working as a carer, couldn't get a proper job. Back in Nigeria, Judith had a background in HR. Okay. And she was a carer as well. Even after school, after her master's, she kept on with a care job simply because that was the only type of job she could get, or she thought she could get. So Judith applied the concepts I just shared with you, the learn, package, and apply concept. So Judith joined us last year, 2024. She wrapped up her program in March 2024. She joined our business analysis program because she wanted to make that change. She was tired of the care job, very physically demanding. Okay, so she wanted to stop that, get a proper job, and she was very deliberate. And she said, Adeza, I want to land a remote job. I want to work from home. I'm a mother. I have kids. I want to work from home. Okay, can I get a job working remotely as a business analyst? And I said, absolutely. She registered. She went through the business analysis program. She wrapped up her program in March. And of course, during the program, she had started packaging herself. We tailored her CV for her. One of the first things we do for you is we revamp your CV. So we had done her CV for her to a business analyst CV. She joined our mentorship sessions. We prepped her for multiple interviews. And that's simply because she had been applying to multiple jobs across the UK, across the US, with the mind that she wants to land a remote job. Every job application was tailored. And guess what? By July 2024, the same year, less than 4 months, after completing her program, she landed a business analyst role, working remotely from the UK, working for a company in the US. All right. So we had an interview with Judith to share a little bit of her journey. Okay. It's a long interview, so I'm not going to bore you with a very long video. I'll play the very first 3 minutes, and I think you would get the essence of how Judith was able to make this transition from the first 3 minutes of this video. Okay, you can come back. You'd have the link on my slides. Don't forget, fill the attendance form. So you have access to my slides, access to all the links, the recording, the material by the end of today. So make sure you fill the attendance form. My colleagues would post this from time to time. Make sure you fill the attendance form. Okay. So I'm going to click on this link. We're all going to listen to Judith. It's a 22 plus minutes video, but we're not going to spend 22 minutes here. I'll play the first 3 minutes and you get to understand how Judith was able to make this transition. Okay. So just give me 1 second and I'll share this right away.
Monday CRM has the best AI features in the game,
especially in sales. Like magic. You know me, I'm not a great writer, but I tell shit.
Okay, so I'm going to take it back to the very
always
first.
have my back.
Oops, sorry about that. all these adverts, keep on popping up. So I'm going to take you to the very first, beginning of this video, play the first 3 minutes, and I want you to listen to Judith's story, how she was able to make the transition. And I'm sure you'd learn something out of this, out of the first 3 minutes of this particular video. So let's sit back and enjoy Judith, how she moved from a carer to becoming a business analyst.
Really helped me that in this job now I'm about to take a higher role. Yeah, I'm about to take a higher role because within few months my boss was like, oh, I see you are very good. I said, yes. I got my training with analytics and they're very good. Even my classmates that we went to school together in the UK, most of them are asking me. I've referred about 25 of them to analytics.
I'm here, a popular face on the channel, Mr. Deza Suleiman, and I also have here Judith, aka Ngozi, aka I can help people get good jobs abroad. So, Madam Judith, today I just want you to share something brief about yourself. I know that you don't have time, and also share an honest advice for migrants who are looking for well-paying jobs abroad. Okay, your honest, genuine advice. Okay, pass fast.
All right, so thank you everyone for having me. I remember I was also a carer when I met Tolu. Yeah, I met her when she went to drop her child in school, same school with my daughter. And then she was telling me, oh, why not going to tech? I was like, what do you mean going to tech? Is that what you do? And then she said yes, that she got a job after she had a training with analytics. I was like, wow, then give me the link because I've been trying to get one, and then the one I got was in London. I was so expensive. I even bless God I haven't paid. So when she shared analytics with me, I went to check on Instagram and I saw it. And then I joined. The fee was very okay because compared to what I was going to pay for, that one was so high. And then they were not my people. Of course, I might not even hear them speak. So I joined analytics and then I took the training, and of which before I joined analytics, I've tried to, because I studied computer science, I've tried getting jobs. I couldn't get, I was just doing healthcare jobs, which I wasn't even okay with. So, but then after I finished my training, I just remember that there was just, the only thing I did that I wasn't doing before was that the template analytics gave for CV after the training, I just changed my CV to that. I changed the format and then I submitted it back to this same company that hired me in the US that I've been trying to get into for a long time. And then I got the job. It was just so surprising. I got the job.
Wow. So you're currently working for this US company?
Yes.
But you're living from home. But you're living
in the best.
Yeah.
I work from home.
I like one thing that you said. I have not really thought about it. You said that the fact that like the people who teach you in analytics are very familiar to you.
Yes, I could ask them questions.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a great thing that it doesn't come to mind. Like the fact that, there are people who have been where you have before, there are people who are familiar with migrants, situations and all of that. You're likely to understand them better when they teach.
Yes, and you're freer, able to ask questions, and then the kind of teachers they have in analytics. This is not because you invited me. I'll say it anyway. Even on my page, people ask me questions. The kind of teachers we have in analytics, you can ask them. They will explain over. They're not tired of explaining. In fact, I used to tell.
I know Mr. Deza. He can talk for 2 hours. I know him.
I tell Sheun that taught me the business analytics. I tell him that don't you get tired of answering questions, because he will tell you ask, and then this our wonderful lecturer ISOSA God. I don't know where you got ISOSA from, but ISOSA is the best. It will tell you ask questions, ask even when you don't want to ask. It will make you find something to ask, and then they're.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Of course, you have the link on my slide. You can always come back and watch the entire video, all right? Listen to Judith and everything Judith had to say. But one of the things that was instructive in what Judith said, if you listen to her carefully, apart from learning the skills, knowing how to do the job, of course, if you watch more of the video, you'd listen to when she talked about the projects as well, which I'll speak about in the next few slides. But she talked about the CV, using a different CV template from what she had been using, and she never got results. So that's Judith, who was a carer, a care worker. On her way to her daughter's school, she met a friend who had gone through Tenalytics and landed a job. And a friend recommended, Tenalytics to her. And that was how she came to Tenalytics, learned the skill. Within 4 months after completing the program, she landed a job. as a business analyst. Absolutely phenomenal lady. So let's get into what Judith did. Okay. So looking at all the steps from the learn, the packaging, and apply, what exactly did Judith do? Now, the very first thing anyone wants to do in selecting a career path, like I listed earlier, you must be crystal clear on the role you want to get into, the career path. You have to be crystal clear. You have to know the career path you are moving into. You're not doing this because there is somebody who landed a job. Okay. You want to be sure, you want to be crystal clear, and you should also do your own research. Now, what we always advise and what I'll advise you to do at the end of today's session, you can go back, take this advice, apply them, and you come back later to thank me. Thank you, Adeza. I did all the things you said, and here I am today. Okay. So number one is every single year, what we do at Analytics is we scrape jobs from the major job boards, from LinkedIn to Indeed to Glassdoor, CV Library, UK Visa Jobs, Workopolis, Built-in, and so many other job boards. All right. We scrape job data from those boards and we do something called job analysis. So we try to see where are the opportunities, what particular roles are employers hiring for, and we look at the jobs that are high in demand. But we don't just look at the demand, because a job can be high in demand, but it can be very difficult to learn the skills, or you might have to go back to the university. For example, blockchain engineering, very high blockchain engineering. It's a career path that is in high demand. If you're a blockchain engineer, you're not going to struggle to land a job. But how long does it take to become a blockchain engineer? Roughly 18 months to 24 months. So roughly 1.5 to 2 years. So you likely would have to spend a lot of time learning the skills, learning the technologies to getting started. So we had to look at extra filters to filter those high demand jobs and look for the jobs that are easier to learn, easy to transition into. So for somebody like Ngozi, who was a care worker, moving to becoming a business analyst, and of course the salaries must also be fantastic. So we do that. Then we didn't stop there. We wanted to validate all the analysis we had carried out. So we look at the global view, the broader perspective. Is there any organization that has carried out similar type of analysis? Yes, the World Economic Forum. So every 2 years, the World Economic Forum releases a report called The Future of Jobs. And the Future of Jobs report shows you the career paths that are in demand today, high in demand. And then they show you the career path that would grow in demand and the career path that will decline in demand. So we looked at this report to see if it aligned with the analysis we had carried out. All right. And anybody can have access to this report. So what I've done is I've kept the link right here. So you have access to click on the link, look at the report, and you get to read the report yourself. Absolutely fantastic for anybody trying to make it, a transition to a new career path. So what this report shows, and I'm going to show you what it looks like essentially. So every 2 years since 2018, the World Economic Forum they put out this report called The Future of Jobs. All right. And if you go to page 21, page 21 shows you the career path that would grow and the career path that will decline in the next 5 to 10 years. So I'm not going to move into a career path because my friend suggested it. It might just be a career path that is on the decline. I want to be sure that I'm moving into a career path that has a high demand. So what we do, and at the left-hand side, you have those career paths that are high in demand, okay? So you'd see the big data specialist. You'd see the data warehousing specialist. You'd see the data analysts, data scientists, the data engineers, the digital transformation specialists, the process automation specialists. These are the business analysts. A business analyst is a professional that ensures that processes are optimized. If something takes 5 days, how can we reduce it to take just 5 minutes? And to ensure that you can reduce a process, optimize a process from 5 days to 5 minutes, you must introduce automation to do what? Make that process more efficient. So these are the business analyst roles. If you go a little bit downwards, you'd find your project managers, not the conventional project managers, but the agile project managers that focus on managing technology products using the agile methodology, the Scrum framework, the Kanban framework, the Lean framework, the SAFe framework, and so on and so forth. So we looked at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. And finally, we looked at the regional analysis. So we've seen the broader perspective, which means that irrespective of where you are, these are the jobs that are growing in demand. However, if you break it down into specific regions, like the UK, for example, we looked at the jobs that are high in demand, the jobs that currently have a shortage of capacity to fill those roles. The UK used to have something called the shortage occupation list, but that was scrapped last year, April 2024, where you now have the immigration salary list. So what the UK aims to do, and where you can easily find career paths that are high in demand, these are the career paths where the country itself is willing to expedite and accelerate your permanent residency. So you can get a skilled worker visa if you get a job in this particular area. And the reason why the UK would do that for anyone is simply because they don't have enough capacity, they don't have enough talent to fill those roles in-house. So they would rather attract talents from outside the country to take those jobs. So that's where you can easily find jobs that are high in demand. So we look at the UK, the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, which means that if I get an offer from an organization, the organization has the license to sponsor, then I can get a COS, a certificate of sponsorship, and I can apply for a skilled worker visa. So this is also one of the analyses we do. So we look at the jobs under this particular, report. It was updated last month on the 9th of April. So there are different job codes. Okay, so you'd see if it is eligible for the skilled worker visa or not. You'd either see a yes or you'd see a no. For example, if you're an elected officer and representative, you're not eligible for the skilled worker visa. All right. So you start to look at the type of jobs available. Okay. So if you go to, I'm going to highlight just a few. If you go to code 2131, for example, you'd see the IT project managers. These are the agile project managers. If you go to 2133, you'd see the IT business analyst, just like Judith. You listened to Judith a few minutes ago. The data architects, the data engineers, and so on. 2135, the cybersecurity professionals. Are they eligible? Yes. Is the business analyst eligible? Yes. Is the IT project manager eligible for the skilled worker visa? Yes. If you go to 2422, 3544, and so on, you'd see different career path and so on and so forth. The financial analysts, for example, they are also eligible for the skilled worker visa. 3544. And I think that will be the last one. And then we move on to the next aspect of our session today. So if you go all the way to 3544, you'd see the data analysts. Are they eligible for the skilled worker visa? Yes. So we did our regional analysis. We looked at the US and we looked at the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. So what particular jobs are employers willing to petition for a H-1B visa? We looked at Canada, we looked at the provincial nominee programs across different provinces, from Alberta to Saskatchewan, Ontario, BC, Vancouver, and the rest. All right. So if you take the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, there is a priority pathway for those who want to move into the tech ecosystem. And you get your provincial nomination and you eventually would get your permanent residency because you get 600 points essentially. So you'd see the accelerated tech pathway, the eligible codes, what type of jobs can I get to, get qualified for this, for example. You'd see the HR managers, the HR professionals, you'd see the data scientists, the cybersecurity professionals, the business systems analysts. These are the business analysts, the database analysts, data administrators. These are the data analysts. So we looked at all of these and we came up with 8 career paths. Those 8 career paths at the beginning that I showed you under Learn, these were all the different analysis and research and the rationale behind those 8 career paths. They're not just high in demand, they are in demand today and they would also stay relevant over the next 5 to 10 years. Looking at the different regional analysis, the different countries, accelerated pathways for permanent residency, for ILR in the UK, and so on and so forth, these are the jobs you want to also focus on. So it's important that you understand clearly where you're headed. So if you're a business analyst, a data analyst, a data scientist, agile project manager, data engineer, cybersecurity analyst, HR analyst, or a financial analyst, you can rest assured that the jobs are there for you. All I need to do, learn the skills, package myself, and apply. All right. So the very first step is very important. You don't want to dilly-dally all over the place. You want to select a particular career path. All right. And I want to ask this question before we move to the next phase of our session today. All right. Before we move to the next phase of our session, out of all these 8 career paths, which one are you interested in? So just type into the chat. I'm interested in data analytics. I want to get a job as a data scientist. You can have more than one. Feel free. Type it into the chat and let me know your thoughts. Okay. DA, data analytics, cybersecurity from Nikki. Sophia says financial analyst, business analyst, data engineer. Ajoke says data science engineering. Fantastic. BAFA. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Fantastic. Scrum Master. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. Now, once you've selected, the next step is, how do I learn? Okay, so we've said go learn these skills. That's the first step. Adeza, you said we should learn. How do I learn? Now, so many times, a lot of people make the mistake of, and this is a mistake that is general, a lot of people do this. I did it myself when I was transitioning. When I was learning, myself and Efemena, the co-founder of 10 Analytics, we learned together and it was so difficult. And the reason why it was so difficult for us, number one, we had no mentors. Nobody to tell us what to do. Number two, we were learning in 100% self-paced environment. Okay. So, you go, say on Coursera, for example, you watch videos, you work on the assignments, and that's pretty much it. You figure things out. You watch the videos and then you try to implement. That was all we were doing. So if we had questions around the rationale behind what we were doing, we really couldn't ask those questions. Sometimes you do exactly what you've seen on the video, but you get a different result. And you don't know why you are getting a different result. So it was very difficult. There were simple problems that took 2 weeks to get resolved because I didn't know exactly what to do. So a lot of people still make that mistake. They go to Udemy, they go to Coursera, and they want to start from there. That's not the best way to start. Those are platforms you can leverage once you already understand. Maybe you're working as a professional, you want to, upskill or something like that. I can watch videos on YouTube today and I understand exactly what I'm watching because I've worked as a data analyst. I have the skills, I have the experience, I have the knowledge. So if I see something, I can question or I can answer it based on my understanding of that particular concept. So how do you learn? You want to learn in a self-paced environment. But that can't be all. You can't learn in 100% self-paced environment. You get frustrated and you drop off. It's happened to thousands and thousands of people. All right. So what you want to do is learn in a self-paced environment and also in a live instructor-led class. In a class where you can ask questions, in a class where if you don't understand something, you can send a message in a group and somebody responds. You can share your screen live on the call and your question is answered. Or you can book something we call a drop-in session with your trainer, your facilitator, and they tell you exactly what to do. They show you what to do. So the blend of the self-paced and the live instructor-led class makes it easy for those who get concepts very fast, the fast learners, and also the slow learners. Okay, so it's a blend of you being able to catch up on no matter what has been taught, because you don't just go to a platform and watch videos and practice. You also have the opportunity to engage with a professional who knows how to do the job, who has done the job, and who can walk you through how to solve specific problems. So I'll show you what a self-paced platform looks like, the Tenalytics learning management system, and also what a live class looks like as well. All right. So that's the best way to learn. If you are learning any other way, you are doing it wrong. Okay. Remember, if I want to land a job fast, what do I need to do? That's the question. That's the essence of our session today. So remember, self-paced plus live instructor-led classes. And this is called a blended learning approach. Blended learning approach. So let's see what the live class and the self-paced class looks like. So for anybody who registers with Tenalytics, for example, you have your dashboard, okay? So anybody can come to the website, create a profile. However, for you to go through any training, any program here, you must have registered, all right? Subscribe to Tenalytics, and then you have access. So this is the learning management system, the LMS. This is where I can come to any day of the week, anytime, morning, evening, afternoon, at my own convenience, on a Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, any day of the week. I can come here, click on continue learning, and I can watch any video at any point in time, and I can practice at my own convenience. Okay. As a business analyst, I want to learn, say, project initiation planning and stakeholder analysis. I can come in here, go to project initiation planning, click on that, and I can watch the video on project initiation planning.
Especially from...
I can work on case studies. Every single module has a case study. So I can work on the case study, solve the problem at any day, at any given point in time, any day of the week, any time of the day. I can watch these videos and learn any concept. Business case. I can go to business case. What's a business case all about? I can work on a case study on business cases. And this is what your self-paced class looks like. So you want to have the opportunity to interact, working on, in a self-paced environment at your own convenience. And then you also have a live class. And the live class is where it's on a different platform. This is where you have the opportunity to learn from a professional, okay? So a live class on project initiation planning, for example. So I've watched the video on project initiation planning, stakeholder analysis. Then I have a live class. That's what they've done, they'll be doing today in class. Their live class 5 is on project initiation planning. Before this, they had a class on what? Case study on SQL. All right. So I can join a class at any point in time. I have material for the class. I can look at the material, see what it is all about. And every single thing you do in the live class is what? Project based. So this particular project is for the insurance industry. And what are you doing? Stakeholder analysis and project success measurement. All right. And this is what you do. So you look at the case study overview. What's the introduction to the problem? What's the problem statement? Okay. And what exactly are you solving? What's the rationale behind this particular problem? And this is how you learn in a live class. All the live classes are recorded. So which means that if I miss a class, for example, I can come back to the class recording and I can watch and see exactly what happened in class on that particular day. I can ask questions, I can see the questions that were asked, and I can solve problems together with a live facilitator in class. So this was the class on SQL as a business analyst. And this is combining not just a self-paced, 100% self-paced class, but self-paced plus live instructor-led classes. So you never miss anything because your classes are also recorded. You can always go back, rewatch the recording, and you have access to all the materials in your live class. Okay, so that's how you must learn. If what you've been doing is watching YouTube videos, watching Udemy videos, you are doing it wrongly. You must have a professional that has done the job, worked in that industry, knows how to do the job, and teaches you how to do it. You can ask real-time questions, get real-time feedback. This is how you must learn. Then you move to the packaging. Now, packaging, like I mentioned, is exactly how you craft a competent profile, how you attract the biggest and the best organizations to yourself. Okay, the biggest and the best organizations to yourself. So you're a magnet to organization, crafting a magnetic job ready profile. All right. Don't forget, fill the attendance form so that you don't miss out on my slides when I share them. When I share the slide at the end of today's session, the recording as well, you have access to all the materials that you need. Now, when you are packaging yourself, a lot of people do it by focusing on what they think is right. But what we always advise is, what does the employer want? I must always look at things from the perspective of the employer. So package yourself based on the wants of the employer, what the employer think is important, not what you think is important. And before you start packaging, always remember this. If you have a pen, you have a notepad, write it down somewhere. Competence over credentials. I'm going to repeat it again. Competence over credentials. For a lot of people looking to land jobs, their focus is on credentials. If your focus is on credentials, you would struggle to land a job. And what are credentials? Or my educational background, or a certification, that certification, this certification. A lot of people focus too much on certifications and then they struggle to land a job, because certifications, just like you agreed with me, like that carpenter that has a certification and the other carpenter that has a showroom, who would you choose? You all said you choose carpenter B, the carpenter with the showroom. And the reason is simple, and that's simply because the carpenter has competence. They have evidence that they've done the job. Competence comprises of two things: skills and experience. Most of you selected carpenter B because you could see that carpenter B had experience. Carpenter B had built couches. Carpenter B has a showroom. You can walk into the showroom, you can see the couches the carpenter has built. Okay? You, as a professional who wants to land a job in 2025, you can't focus on credentials. You have to focus on competence, your skills, and your experience. So when you're packaging, put this should be a watchword for you: competence over credentials. All right. And how do you go about this? I'm going to show you another quick success story. However, Hope's story is quite interesting because Hope had all the certifications you could imagine. She had the credentials. Hope had project management certification. She had Scrum Master certification. Then she moved to Canada from Nigeria and she couldn't get a job. Hope could not land interviews. She couldn't land jobs because she had no way to show her experience. All right. And this is a practical example, your typical example of competence over credential. Hope joined us in September 2024. And by December, in about 4 months, she landed a job. Hope landed a job very fast simply because Hope had some understanding of project management. Of course, she's done certifications, but certifications is not a good measure for your ability to do the job. And recruiters know this. When you go into an interview, your questions are competency based. They are competency based. And if you remember, competence is what? Skills and experience. So if you get competency based questions, you can rest assured that those questions would involve, tell me about a time you've managed a project and you had to deal with a difficult stakeholder. Questions that aim to assess your experience and what you've done before. And if you can't answer those questions constructively to show that you've done these things before, you'd be like that carpenter A who has certificates but no evidence that they can do the job. Hope joined us in September 2024. By December, she landed this job as a project analyst with Visman in Waterloo, Ontario. Okay, I'm going to play Hope's video. It's about 2 minutes, very quick. I want you to listen to Hope, because for every single thing we are doing, like I mentioned earlier, I'm walking you through a journey. How do you get this done? How do you start? How do you ensure that you put all these things into practice in order to land a job? Hope had certifications, but she couldn't land a job. All right. So what did we do for Hope? Very simple. We repackaged Hope's CV in a way that it showed experience with Tenalytics. Number one. Number two, Hope built a portfolio to show the type of job she had worked on. So she didn't go to interviews like before, highlighting that she had certifications and so on. She highlighted the fact that she had experience and she could speak about the experience, different projects she had worked on. And that was what made the difference for Hope. We prepared her for our interviews and she was able to make that breakthrough. So let's listen to Hope very quickly. It's a 2 minutes straight to the point video, but I want you to learn and listen to how Hope was able to transition.
It helped me learn.
All right. She spoke very slowly, so I'm just going to increase the speed just slightly, but you'd get every single thing Hope is saying. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy Hope's story.
My first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a 6-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. Hello, my name is Hope Atoye. I am an alumni of Tenalytics. I joined the 2024 September cohort class for Agile Project Management. Prior to joining this cohort, I had a certificate in project management, and I had written the PMP, and I'd also written the Scrum Master certification, which I passed both, but I still needed to land a project management role in Canada. Prior to when I moved to Canada, I had an experience with managing projects and handling agile projects in Nigeria. But moving to Canada, I hadn't gathered enough experience in the project space, so I needed to break into that space. Tenalytics was recommended to me, and I tried it. I had a focus of what I wanted, and they helped me achieve that. I joined the class. It was very interactive. It was very educative. I increased what I knew prior to joining the class, and I learned new things as well. I would definitely recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to break into a new field or change career path. I think Tenalytics is where you should be. You should register with them. They would help you with your post-registration, ongoing classes, getting a job, interview processes and all that. While on the project, in the class, I applied to a couple of jobs, and Tenalytics helped me with my interview preparation, giving me tips, organizing mock interview sessions as well, and it helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a 6-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. I will recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to change career path, and they would help you through the process before, during, and even after you land a job. They're willing to help you answer questions, guide you through, help you settle in your new role as well. Thank you very much, Tenalytics. I really appreciate your help in my career growth. And I hope that anyone who is looking to make an impact in their careers or change career path are looking to work with Teralytics, because they're one educational agency I would recommend to anyone. Thank you very much, Teralytics.
Okay, so that's Hope. You listen to Hope. Project, she had PMP, she had the CSM, Scrum Master, but she couldn't get a job. And that's why I always tell people, you're always putting the cart before the horse. The horse has to come first. And what's the horse? Your skills and your competence. You must learn the skills and you must know how to do the job. A certificate is a measure for how you can retain what you've read and how you can, put that into paper when you're asked questions. But knowing how to do the job is the best measure for how you've been able to acquire your skills. So employers know that certifications does not measure how well you can do the job. It only measures how well you can retain all the things you learned in order to pass an exam. All right. So remember this: competence over credential every single time. So when you think about packaging, you are packaging yourself because you have the skills, you have the experience, and you position yourself as the best candidate for that particular job. And that was what we did for Hope. I'm just quickly going to show you Hope's profile on LinkedIn very fast. Just to show you Hope's profile on LinkedIn and what Hope used to do before, what she's doing now, and so on. And you'd see Hope's LinkedIn profile, Hope Atogi. That's Hope. Absolutely phenomenal lady. Gets in a six-figure job. For anybody in Canada, you know what that means. And one of the things you'd see on Hope's profile is what? Agile project manager with Teralytics. And there's a reason why you see this, and I'll come back to that. So you can see Hope's current job as a project analyst with Visman, December 2024, pretty recent, 6 months ago, Waterloo, Ontario. And that's Hope right there. Absolutely phenomenal lady, doing very well for herself. So when it comes to packaging, always remember that carpenter that has a showroom, build a portfolio. Your portfolio is your showroom. You want to get a job in 2025, you must have a portfolio. All right. And I'll show you what a portfolio looks like, essentially, very quickly. I have a couple of portfolios right here. I'll click on the one for Victoria. So if I click on this link, it takes me to Victoria's portfolio. Remember, if you want to have access to all these things, all the links, make sure that you fill the attendance form. So you get my slides, you get the recording. You can also interact just like I'm clicking on all these links. All right. So this is Victoria, who joined our data analytics program, and this is our portfolio. Your portfolio is that platform where all the projects you work on from beginning of the program till the end of the program, you'd work on a minimum of 25 projects. You add those projects to your portfolio. All right. So one of the projects Victoria worked on is the Deep Care Hospital ER analysis. And I'll tell you how somebody used this project to land a job as a healthcare data analyst in the US. Okay, so this is Victoria worked on this project where she analyzed the emergency room data of a hospital and recommended how they can reduce the wait time of patients. And she did this on Tableau. So I can click and see what Victoria did. So any recruiter can come here as well. This is Victoria's showroom, like that carpenter. They can walk into Victoria's showroom, see what she's built, interact with it. They can access her LinkedIn from here, and they can see how good Victoria is. So if I go to this particular dashboard, for example, still coming up. Let me refresh and see if it comes up faster. So if I go to Victoria's dashboard, it shows me what Victoria has built using Tableau. And guess what? I can interact with it. It is dynamic. I can click. If I deselect this, everything becomes blank. If I want to see the data for only Q3, Q2, Q1, I can click on any of them and it populates again. All right. I can see the number of ER patients, the average age, the satisfaction score, the patient wait time, and I can see all of this. And there is nobody that looks at this and would have a doubt that Victoria does not have the skill to build dashboards like this using Tableau. Just like that carpenter, you are confident because you can see what they've done. So Victoria has worked on so many projects, the Redux Airline, Express Tech Food Delivery. This is an aviation project. This is a logistic project. This is an FMCG project using Power BI, Nestle Product Analytics. So all the projects you work on, you upload to show employers that you have the skills, you've done it before, and you can do it for them. Absolutely important. You can look at Victor's portfolio, Onwachukwu's portfolio, Lemuel, who is a business analyst, and so on. So once you have a portfolio to show that I've done it before and I can do it for you, it's also important that the link to your portfolio is on your LinkedIn. And I'll speak about that shortly. If I go to Victor's portfolio, for example, let me do that very quickly. I go to Victor's portfolio. One of the first things you'd see is the link to his portfolio on his LinkedIn profile. So any recruiter who is checking Victor out, they know what he does. Oh, Victor is a data scientist, AI, ML, data analyst. Victor has worked with Analytics. They can see that right here. He has worked with Analytics. And this is also all about positioning. The reason why you want to position yourself like this, when you join us, you don't join us as a student. You join us as a contractor or as a consultant so that you can request for references from us. So this is how you represent yourself. If you had looked at Hope's profile, you'd see the same thing as well. So I can click on the link right here if I'm a hiring manager, and I can see the projects that Victor has completed. And I can click on any of them and I can see how he has completed that project and the problem he solved. AI customer care chatbot, building one using Python, loan default prediction, building a machine learning model to predict customers that are likely going to default on their loan. Okay, so I can look at any of these projects and see how good Victor is. It's absolutely important that you have that if you want to land a job. And of course, I talked about the CV review, your LinkedIn optimization, navigating the job market, which is simply where to apply and how to apply. And of course, your interview prep. So what we do for you is when you join, one of the first things you do is your CV review. Okay, so if you go to any of your classrooms, you'd see where you submit your CV to us. All right, so upload your CV. You go ahead, upload your CV, we work on your CV, and after working on your CV, we send it back to you. So you have the industry standard ATS keyword optimized CV, ATS compliance that would get you into the room. Just like Judith, who had her CV revamped, and immediately that job she had been trying to get, she got invited for interviews. All right. You'd also see where you have your LinkedIn optimization sessions under mentorship. Okay. You'll see your LinkedIn optimization sessions where I would show you practically how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So this is me showing you how to optimize your LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, show you how to create one, a practical session on how to get this done. All right. If you already have a profile, how do you optimize? What are the nuances, the key, important factors that would rank your LinkedIn page higher? All right. So this is a practical session where I'll show you how to do this. It's a live session where you have the opportunity to ask me questions, and the recording is also there, is available. In case you missed the session, you can always join, watch the recording, have access to my slides and everything that we did on that day. Okay. How do you apply to jobs? Navigating the job market. All right. So we show you where to apply, how to apply. This past mentorship, the one on Thursday, was where this was tailored to those in the UK, for example, where we showed them how to apply the key strategies to apply to sponsorship roles, tailored to those in the UK, the US, and Canada. And this was taken by Efemena, the co-founder of Analytics, who has done different jobs, worked in the UK as well, also gotten sponsorship across multiple roles with the post office in the UK, working with Tizer, DPD, one of the largest logistic companies in Europe, and so on and so forth. So showing you categorically his own journey from where he started unemployed to landing his first job as a management consultant to working in the warehouse with DPD after he moved abroad and working with the same company where he worked as a warehouse operative. He got a job with that same company, DPD, as a business intelligence developer. How did he get that job? And these are the things that FMNR would show you in a session like this. All right. And of course, the recording is also there. If you missed the session, you can always come back, watch the recording. You see exactly what was done.
Quiet.
Okay, so this was a session, for example. You'd see what was done. You can ask all the questions, practical steps, where to apply, how to apply, and so on and so forth. Okay, just to give you an example of how your mentorship sessions happen. If you have an interview, you don't need to speak to anybody. Go to the LMS, go to your dashboard, and all you have to do at the right-hand corner, you'd see interview preparation. Click on schedule appointments, fill all the details, select the program you've joined, the link to the job you've applied to, the stage of the interview. Is it first level? Select it. What date do you want your interview prep to hold? Select the preferred date, okay? And then upload the CV that you have used to apply to that job. And the moment you schedule your appointments, what happens? Somebody will join a session, one-on-one session, and hold a mock interview session with you, prep session. So they preempt the questions, you know exactly what to look out for, and you know all the questions that are likely going to come up, and we prep you for that. Once you've gotten that job, you want a reference. You have two things. For some people, they request for references for masters. You want to apply to master's program, you want a reference, you can get a reference letter or details to submit while filling the form, for your onboarding when they request for you to provide references. All you need to do is click on this, enter the necessary details, the name of the company you've gotten a job with, the job role itself, and all of that, and we will provide you with the reference details. All right. And this is how you start to get access to what you require to eventually do the job in terms of packaging. Without these, you'd find it difficult you'll find it difficult not just to land the job, but to even get a foot into the door. Because if you don't have the right CV, you can't get a foot into the door. You can't show them how amazing you are. All right. So that's about packaging and how you can start to do that step by step. And these are the things we provide with our participants. So when you listen to Hope, these were the things Hope had to go through. When you listen to Judith, this was exactly what she had to go through. And to cap it up, apart from you learning in a project-based environment, you must also find yourself doing an internship. All right. The internship would give you the opportunity to interact with counterparts in other programs. So you work in a cross-functional team. If you are in business analysis, you work together with somebody in agile project management. You work with other stakeholders, a UI UX designer, a software developer, to build and work on a real world project together. Because in the real world, you don't work in silos, you don't work alone, you work in a team. Okay, so we show you, we work on a team, we show you how to do that, we simulate the real world environment for you. So a typical program with us is for 6 months. Your learning is for 6 months, and then you have your 2 months internship. So you have an 8-month learning journey. And the beauty about this, you get to list both Tenalytics and Amdari as part of your work experience. Okay, so when you go on LinkedIn and you are looking at people that have landed jobs, one of the things you'd find is they have listed Tenalytics or Amdari as part of their work experience. And the reason is simple, so that you can get work reference from us. So you don't join us as a student, you join us as a contractor, you join us as a consultant. Okay. So I'll just give you a few examples of some. All right. Let's look at Oluwadamilare, for example. Oluwadamilare is in Leeds in the UK. He landed a job as a sustainability data analyst last year in April after completing our data analytics program. And you'd see the role before that, data analyst with analytics contract. Okay. If we go to Ikmat works with the NHS. She's on full visa sponsorship. She's on her way to ILR in the UK. She got the sponsorship after completing her data analytics program with us. And she landed a job as an information analyst with the NHS, full visa sponsorship. When you go to somebody like Ramat, who is also on visa sponsorship in the UK as well as a business architect, one of the things you'd find on Ramat's profile is she also worked as a business analyst consultant with Tenalytics. So these are profiles of professionals showcasing that they've done the job before. And this is part of your positioning and presenting yourself as the best candidate for the job. If we go to Busola and so many other professionals, Busola got this job last year as a performance analyst with Desjardins Insurance. She got the job in July 2024 after working with Tenalytics as a data analyst. Okay. And Desjardins is in Ontario, Canada. So packaging is not just something you do, from the top of your head. It is methodical. It's a step-by-step approach. And we show you how to do all of these things one after the other. All right. If you're having a great time, before we move to the final phase of our session today, just type in yes into the chat. And for those who have questions, trust me, I would answer all the questions that you have. Okay. All the questions that you have. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Fantastic. Phenomenal. Okay. Now to the final phase, which is apply. Remember, the most important thing here is apply with precision. A lot of people know how to apply to jobs. Anybody can apply. I can show my 10-year-old how to apply to jobs. Go on LinkedIn, search for the job, see the requirements, go to Easy Apply, upload your CV, and put in the application. But guess what? You're always going to get unfortunately. Unfortunately, you're not invited for an interview. So you must apply with what? Precision. Precision is knowing where to apply, knowing how to apply, and knowing how to tailor your CV to each application. All right. So what you want to focus on is tailoring every application to the job. Never reuse a CV when applying. Never reuse one CV when applying to jobs. Okay. Another thing you want to also do is you want to send in good number of applications every day. So don't be that person that applies to just 2 jobs or 3 jobs or 4 jobs in a week and think you've done the very best. You want to send 10 quality applications. Remember, you heard it from, it's a research, it's a study that says you need 267 good tailored applications to land a job offer. All right. So you must put in the work every day to ensure you get to this number. It could be lesser, it could be more, but on the average, about 267. All right. So put in applications, quality applications. And the way we help you do this, and the way we also help you tap into the paid and the hidden job market is, like I mentioned earlier, we subscribe to these platforms. We get requests from organizations to provide them with profiles for us to go ahead and submit. So if you go to a typical class, for example, and you look for where you have job openings or job offers, and you open this, so every single week, we send you jobs that you can apply to. Okay. So this is business analyst, for example. If you scroll all the way down, you'd see jobs. And again, These are jobs that also come with visa sponsorship for those looking to land jobs with visa sponsorship. So I'm just going to scroll all the way to the last. You'd see, does it come with sponsorship? You'd see yes, 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 yes. All right. So for jobs in the UK as a business analyst, and these are not jobs you'd find on LinkedIn or CV Library, on read.co.uk. These are jobs that are from dedicated platforms like UK Visa Jobs. That's one platform we use. We subscribe to this platform. It's not free, it's paid, but we subscribe to it. UK Visa Jobs. I just want to show you what it looks like very quickly. This is one of the platforms we use. Apply for student, graduate, and experienced hire jobs with visa sponsorship in the UK. We use Visa Jobs HQ as well, and so many other platforms. So we send this to you, and it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Nigeria, we send you jobs. You want to get remote jobs, we send you remote jobs to apply to as well. And of course, your mentorship session is also tailored to helping you land the job. I showed you the last session we had this past Thursday. It was a session on the key strategies to applying and getting sponsorship roles. And it was broken down country by country by the co-founder of Tenalytics. You have sessions like, don't wait until you have all the requirements, because most of the time, what people just need to know is, how do I navigate this space? Most especially, and this is a study done by Harvard Business Review, women or the female gender tend to want to wait until they meet 100% of the requirements before they apply to jobs. The men, on the other hand, would apply even if they meet just 60 to 70% of the requirements. So I had a session where practically I had to show people, don't wait until you meet all the requirements. And with practical examples, we always show examples. I showed this gentleman, his name is Uthman. I showed his profile. I showed the job Uthman applied to. So Uthman works as a business intelligence analyst. I'll show his profile before we leave here. So I showed them this particular gentleman, 3 years experience. Are you impressed with his profile? Everybody said yes. I love his profile. Oh, he knows how to use amazing tools. He works with the NHS and so on. They were excited. They liked the profile. Now, I showed them the job that Uthman applied to before he got to that level. And I asked them, based on these job adverts you have here, and based on the candidate's experience, do you think these candidates can get this job? Everybody said no. But guess what? That candidate was Uthman, and Uthman was able to land that job. All right. So you'd find so many instances of different people who got jobs that they never thought they would be able to get, but they were able to get those jobs simply because they applied. All right. So this was a mentorship session that I took. And these are sessions that open your eye and make you confident enough to go ahead and apply. All right. So that's the session. In case anybody missed it, you have the opportunity to come back, watch every single thing we did on that day. All right. So that's pretty much what it is. So this is how we show you how to apply, where to apply, and so on and so forth. All right. So you must have all these things in your toolkit before you go ahead to say, I want to land a job. So remember, learn the in-demand career path and focus on one. Okay? Package yourself in the sense that you want to show that you are the best candidate, the best representation, position yourself for the job, and finally apply to jobs like your life depends on it. Apply like a machine, but apply with precision. And that's the only way you'd be able to land a job. There are so many success stories. All right. Somebody talked about Ngozi having previous degree, but it really did not matter for Ngozi. And guess why? Ngozi could not land a job. That's Judith. She couldn't land a job, and she was working as a carer. You have Ikmat. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. I showed you Ikmat's profile. She's on full visa sponsorship with the NHS in the UK. She was a stay-at-home mom taking care of her kids. She wanted to get back into the workforce, and she decided to come to Tenalytics, our data analytics program. And today, Ikmat is a data analyst with the NHS. I showed you Ramat's profile. She's a business architect, also on full visa sponsorship with the NHS as well. Toyin was a pharmacist back in Nigeria. No background in technology, no experience, just like myself. My background was in industrial chemistry. Toyin was a pharmacist. But today, Toyin is a benefits analyst after completing our data analytics program. And Toyin's story is pretty interesting, and I'll tell you why. Toyin got this job about a month and a half after she joined us. About a month and a half, so roughly about 6 weeks after she joined. And people ask the question, how is it possible for Toyin to land a job 6 weeks after joining? Very simple. The NHS at that time was looking for a benefits analyst who could use Microsoft Excel to carry out the analysis. So they didn't want the Power BI, Tableau, the complex tools. They wanted somebody who knew how to use Excel. And within the first 6 weeks in a data analytics program with us, you would have completed your Excel class. You'd have worked on projects. And we encouraged Toyin to apply. She applied. She got interviews. We prepared her for our interviews. And today, Toyin works with the NHS as a benefits analyst, full visa sponsorship, and she's doing amazingly well. It's a 30 seconds video, very short video Toyin recorded. I'm just going to play that very quickly, and then we start to wrap up our session. We have a Q&A, and then I'll show you the specific skills that you need to learn, and then we call it a day today. Let's listen to Toyin very quickly.
Hey, do not sell your current market. You will instantly.
Hello everyone, my name is Toyin and I recently got a job as a benefits analyst in the UK. I've come from a medical background as a pharmacist, was interested in, breaking into tech. My first encounter with analytics was on LinkedIn. I joined one of their masterclass, just one masterclass where Efemina spoke, and it just took that masterclass to convince me. I joined in August, and a month after, I got a job. To be honest with you, every information skill that I was able to apply to get that job, I owe it to Tenalytics. Tenalytics did a great job and is still doing a great job. They groom you and nurture you from the cradle till you become confident. So my advice for you, most importantly, is join. Be integrated into a platform that empowers you and allows you to easily get that first job.
So that's Toyin. I deliberately played this for the gentleman who talked about Judith. Toyin's from a pharmacist. She was a pharmacist from a medical background. And today, she's a data analyst, essentially. So benefits analyst is a fancy way of saying a data analyst that works on data related to employee benefits within the HR space, within the NHS. Okay, so that's Toyin's story. You have Lois. Lois was an accountant, no technology background. But Lois today, after joining our business analysis program, got a job as a project manager after completing our program. So she did business analysis and she got a job as a project manager. How did she do it? I'm going to show you how when I show you the curriculum of the business analysis program. You have transferable skills, complementary skills in business analysis that are also available in project management. So we highlighted those skills, prepared her for our interview, and she landed a job as a project manager. This is Judith. You've heard from Judith already. This is Olua Damilare. No prior tech background, joined the data analytics, got a job as a sustainability data analyst. This is Amaka. Amaka was out of job for 6 months. She lived in Saskatchewan, Canada. She was out of work for 6 months, couldn't land a job. She came to us, joined our HR analytics program in July 2024. She completed her program in December She got multiple interviews, and we helped her secure a job as a HR data analyst with Sask Energy in Saskatchewan. Now, this was, a communication between Amaka and the class coordinator, Priscilla. One of the jobs we had posted in, the group, the classroom, Amaka applied, and she's saying that, most importantly, I have an interview with Sask Energy for a HR data analyst role. One of the jobs you posted, I need help preparing for this interview as I really want this particular job. When you get my slide at the end of today's session, make sure you listen to Amaka. Absolutely phenomenal lady. Currently works as a HR data analyst. And you want to be like Amaka. Pavel landed a job as a healthcare data analyst. Pavel joined us in August, and he got this job in December 2024. Now, one of the projects that helped Pavel land this job as a healthcare data analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians in Tucson, he worked on this project, the hospital ER analysis. This project helped Pavel. He could talk about, he could relate data analytics to healthcare, and that enabled him land the job. All right. And this was a post he made on LinkedIn after he landed this job. Rita secured her sponsorship after completing. She was happy about learning SQL from Tenalytics, which enabled her land her sponsorship. And this was where she sent a screenshot of her COS, the approval from the organization, sending the COS to her, and also applying to the Home Office. You have somebody like Tosin, who works as a fraud analyst after completing our program. You have Olugbemi, you have Benga, who is in Poland. Benga got a job in Poland as a business data analyst. He brought his girlfriend to register, and his girlfriend also got a job as a people data scientist after completing our data science program. Mary had no experience in tech. She was working shifts in the UK. She joined business analysis in November. And by March, 2 months ago, she landed a job with NatWest, the NatWest group in the UK, with full visa sponsorship. And she sent us a screenshot of her sponsorship, which of course is for the next 5 years, from March 2025 to March 2030. She's going to be on the skilled worker visa. Eventually, she's going to get her ILR, indefinite leave to remain. And 1 year after that, she's going to apply for British citizenship. All right. So there are many success stories. This is Hope. I'm not going to double down on that. This is Adetayo, completed cybersecurity, landed a job. Now, what I'm going to help you do very quickly is I'll show you the specific set of skills you need to learn. Because if you want to land a job, it's one thing to package yourself, it's one thing to do all the right things, it's another thing to know what to learn. I had a session last week, Saturday, and an amazing lady told me that, Adeza, I'm a business analyst, but guess what? I don't know Excel, I don't know Power BI, I don't know SQL. These are data skills. And in 2025, as a business analyst, if you don't have data skills, you would struggle to land a job. Okay, so what should you learn? I'll go through this in the next five minutes, and then we'll take our Q&A. All right. So for a business analyst, what do you learn, or what should you learn in order to land a job? What skills and technologies must you know? First of all are your data skills. You must know how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL to work with data, to analyze, visualize, extract data from databases, and so on. Then you must understand process mapping, knowing how to map out processes. How does a process start? How does it end? Where are the inefficiencies? Where are the gaps and the loopholes? Using tools like Lucid Charts and Draw.io. You'd understand project initiation and planning. So for that amazing lady, Lois, who got a job as a project manager, even though she completed business analysis, this was one of the reasons. She learned project initiation and planning. She also learned what? Agile and Scrum for projects. These are project management skills, using tools like Confluence to collaborate on projects, Jira to track project deliverables, Trello to track her team members' tasks and responsibilities, and of course, Azure DevOps to do what? Implement the Agile methodology on projects. You'd learn software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and AI for business analysis using ChatGPT. As an agile project manager, okay, so that's what you need to get into business analysis. So if you're a business analyst, you've learned the skill somewhere, but you don't know Excel, Power BI, and SQL, you're doing yourself a disservice. You'd have very limited type of jobs you can apply to. All right. So as an agile project manager, you would learn how to manage projects using the agile methodology. You'd learn introduction to project management, the methodologies and structure, project management skills and communication, the foundations of agile and Scrum, understanding the Scrum framework, the Scrum artifacts. You'd learn project backlog, increments, the agile practices, the end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence on projects, the Kanban boards for workflow management, metrics and reporting in Agile, velocity, the burn up and the burn down charts, leadership and real world application of project management, Nexus scaled Scrum, application of Scrum, the Scrum framework on an enterprise level across multiple teams. You'd learn how to do what? Prepare for the Scrum Master examination. We do that for you. All right. So you're going to learn different technologies from Confluence to Jira to Trello. And again, your classes are structured in a way that it doesn't matter where you are. There's a class tailored to your time zone. If you're in the UK, you have a class from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Nigeria, Ghana, Europe, you have similar time zones. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You have your classes on Saturdays, your live class. If you're in the US, you're in Canada, your class starts from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So what this means is if I'm in the UK, for example, or I'm in Europe, I have a flexible class I can attend because if I'm not available 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., I can join the class for those in the US and Canada. It's the same curriculum, but the class for the US and Canada would be 6 to 9 p.m. my time. So if I'm in the UK, I can join a class in the morning if I'm free. If I'm not free in the morning, I can join in the evening for those in the US and Canada. So you have that flexibility. And every other day, you're on the LMS watching your videos, practicing and solving problems. Your learning timeline is for 8 months, 6 months in class, 2 months internship. So 8 months would come anyway. However, the question is, where do you want to be in the next 8 months? And from what you've seen from the success stories, most of the people that have landed jobs, they get their jobs well before 8 months, usually before they complete every single tool and technology in class. And that's simply because after your 4th to 5th month, we start encouraging you to apply and apply and apply to jobs, because by that time you'd have learned enough technologies, enough tools, techniques, and we can start prepping you for interviews. Okay, so we go to the data engineering, where as a data engineer, your role is to ensure that wherever data is generated, the data can be moved from that source to where it is easily accessible. So in a typical organization, you have something called a data warehouse. The data warehouse is where data is stored. So when a bank, for example, has a POS terminal, ATM machines, they have web applications, they have mobile applications, and transactions happen from all these different systems. When a transaction happens in a POS owned by Lloyds Bank or Scotia Bank, what happens? That transaction is recorded somewhere in a database. Same with the ATM. The transaction is recorded somewhere in a database. In the web app, transaction is recorded somewhere in a database. Same with the mobile app. You carry out a mobile transaction from your, Scotiabank, your Starling Bank, your Revolut, anything, it's stored somewhere in a database. How do we get all this data in a single location if we need to analyze our transaction data? That's where the data engineer comes in. They create data pipelines, moving data from its source location. These are called ETL pipelines. ETL pipelines: extract, transform, and load pipelines. Okay, create those pipelines, moving data from where they are generated to a central location that makes it easy for anybody who needs to use that data to work with the data. All right, so that's what the data engineer does. Once they've done their job, the data analyst can then extract data to analyze. The data scientist can get the data to analyze. The business analyst can get data, and so on. So they provide the data, and their role is very important. To become a data engineer, you need to understand what data engineering is all about. You need to understand SQL, structured query language, which is what you use to build that data warehouse, build the database, the tables in the database, the data infrastructure, and so on and so forth. You'd learn Python for building your ETL pipelines. You see those pipelines, the pipelines I drew earlier. You build those pipelines using Python codes. All right. You're not going to use a pen like I'm using to build the pipelines. You use Python to build those pipelines. So you'd learn Python to build your ETL pipelines, Linux for your batch scripting. You'd learn how to get data from different sources, from databases, from APIs, scraping data from the web. You'd learn how to automate your data pipelines, schedule and orchestrate those data pipelines using Apache Spark and Airflow. You'd learn Apache Airflow, Apache Spark for your data pipeline automation. You'd learn cloud engineering using GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft Azure. You'd learn version control using GitHub and AI for data engineering using ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. As a data scientist, and the data engineers earn phenomenal salary because the demand for data engineers are also very high. If you're in Canada, you are in the US as a data engineer, you would easily get six figures without a doubt. All right. In the UK, you earn about £65,000 per annum. And of course, £65,000 per annum in the UK is absolutely phenomenal, for anybody living in the UK. So the data scientist, on the other hand, what do you learn? You start from statistics, which is the foundation of data science. A lot of people learn data science by starting from Python. If you start from Python, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to crash out of that particular program because you need to understand the fundamentals, the foundations of data science. So you learn statistics, you move into forecasting and predictive analytics with Microsoft Excel. You'd learn Tableau for data analytics, business intelligence, and you learn SQL for interacting with databases. You learn Python for your exploratory data analysis, machine learning, computer vision. You'd learn version control with GitHub, AI for data science using GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. And of course, you'd learn Microsoft Fabric as well. And as a data analyst, you'd also get to learn, you start from problem solving, knowing how to break problems into multiple parts, knowing how to get to the root cause of a problem. Do I have the data to solve this problem? If I don't have the data, how can I get the data? What particular framework do I deploy in solving this problem? Do I use the CRISP DM framework? How do I break the problems into multiple parts using the McKinsey MECE model, and so on and so forth? So that's where you start from as a data analyst. Then you learn Excel, you learn SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, AI for data analytics using ChatGPT, and Microsoft Fabric as well. The structure of the class is pretty straightforward, just like the other programs. It doesn't matter where you are. There's a class tailored to your time zone. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the UK, if you're in or Europe, similar time zones. If you're in the US, Canada, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And 6 months learning, 2 months internship. All right. Then you have the financial analyst and you have the HR analyst. And people always ask, as a financial analyst, what exactly do I do? As a HR analyst, what exactly do I do? A financial analyst is also a data analyst. A HR analyst is also a data analyst. The only difference is the financial analyst does not work on all the types of data the data analyst would work on. The data analyst would work on customer data, research data, project data, sales data, and so on and so forth. But the financial analyst would work on financial data or financial records. The HR analyst focuses on HR data or people data. So they are more niched into a specific specialization. All right. And you don't need experience to get into any of these areas, just like all the other areas. Every single tool, technology, concept, you learn that in class for 6 months. You work on projects, solve real world problems during your internship for another 2 months. So you have more than enough time to learn everything you need. This is not a 2 weeks program, a 4 weeks program, a 6 weeks program. No, it's an 8-month learning journey. All right. 8-month learning journey. So you learn everything you need in order to land that job. As a financial analyst, you learn all the data skills. You learn problem solving, Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are your data skills. Then you move into the core financial areas: financial accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity, and scenario analysis, ChatGPT for financial analytics, which is AI for financial analytics. As a HR analyst, you learn problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are your data skills. And this is what gives you the opportunity to get a job as a data analyst, just like Amaka, who currently works as a HR data analyst. Then you learn the HR analytics, performance evaluation, HR metrics and lifecycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action. So how do I ensure that all the analysis I've completed or I've carried out gets implemented by the organization? Right? So you'd also learn AI for HR analytics using ChatGPT. The timeline: 6 months learning, 2 months internship. And last but not the least, you have cybersecurity. As a cybersecurity professional learning with us at Analytics, there are 3 pathways you can take. The first one is GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. The second is ethical hacking or penetration testing. Okay, or a penetration tester. And finally, you have the SOC analyst, the Security Operations Center analyst. So these are 3 different specializations under cybersecurity. As a GRC professional, GRC analyst, GRC consultant, your focus is to ensure that you establish policies and procedures that align with the organizational goals and also the regulatory requirements. You're going to create governance framework to ensure that all the organization's digital assets are properly secured. For example, if you get a job in a new organization, who gives access to the data warehouse? Who is responsible? Who is the owner of the data warehouse? How can I request for access? And so on and so forth. That's the governance framework. You're going to ensure that you build something like that. You maintain compliance records and activities within the organization. As an ethical hacker, what you want to do is try to penetrate the systems, the data within the organization, the network within the organization, and find vulnerabilities. Okay, so imagine in the evening you lock all your doors, you are going to bed, But when you lock the door, you check to be sure that the door is locked, and you want to look for any area that is not properly locked, or the door is not, in a very firm locked position. You're looking for vulnerabilities. Where are the faults? Where are the gaps within my door when I lock it at night? So as an ethical hacker, you are doing the same within the network, within the system where you work, the data infrastructure, to identify the loopholes and vulnerabilities and come up with solutions to protect that system. And as a SOC analyst, a security operations center analyst, you watch out for threats by monitoring the systems, the computers, the networks to spot suspicious activities. Okay. So if somebody is trying to hack into your customer's account with multiple attempts, and you notice that the person has tried multiple attempts, you want to investigate what's really going on. You want to stop the attack. And of course, you want to learn from each case to prevent future attacks. So as a SOC analyst, you're going to get alerts multiple times when you have different anomalies within the network, and you want to investigate those anomalies and find out, is this simply a brute force attack? Are hackers trying to get into the system? Are hackers trying to get the password of this customer? And then you take action by preventing it from happening, investigating to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Okay. And that's pretty much what the SOC analyst would do. And for you to get here, you need to have some certain set of skills. Okay. You're going to learn cybersecurity principles, risk management, understanding the different roles and technologies in cybersecurity, introduction to network security, threats and vulnerabilities, SOC analyst roles, threat detection and response, open source intelligence gathering, penetration testing, vulnerability scanning, and network reconnaissance. You'd learn exploitation techniques, the governance and compliance framework, security awareness, training, and reporting, and so on and so forth. Now, these are the skills. And the reason why I've gone through all the tools and technologies is I've seen so many people make the mistake of learning a particular career path. They've gained the skills, but they've not gained enough skills, and they realize that they cannot land a job. Okay. So how do I start today? What are the next steps, Adeza? You said so many things. You've told us what to do, from learn, package, and apply. You've shown us how to package. You've shown us how to learn. You've shown us how Tenalytics can help us do all these things. But how do I start? Where do I start? So we have a cohort starting on the 7th of June. Our cohort in May started today, the 10th of May. So for those who registered in May, they started their journey today for the next 8 months. The next cohort commences in June, on the 7th of June. And as usual, we have an amazing, amazing discount for the first 20 people who will be registering, the early birds who are ready to start their journey. So you want to get into any of our programs, business analysis, data science, HR analytics, any of the programs you want to get into. Instead of paying the full amount of $900, you have a whopping 20% discount where you get to pay just $750, and you can also spread your payments, in installments for 5 months. So all you do is you make a $150 payment per month for 5 months. So what does it take to start? Just $150. That gets you the discount to get started on the 7th of June. Okay, and somebody asked the question, the packaging, the CV you're going to help us review, showing us how to optimize our LinkedIn, showing us how to tailor our CVs, does that come at an extra cost? The answer is no. Every single thing I've talked about today, from your learn, package, apply, to every single thing you have to do, rather than paying $900, the first 20 people would get a discount of $750. All right. And you can break it into 5 installments. So it's easy for you to get into. Okay, remember the discount is for the first 20 people to register, for the early birds who are ready to start their journey. Okay, and as I start to take questions, I'll just show you how to go about the registration process. I can see a couple of hands up already. I'm going to take your questions, no doubt about that. And for those who want to reach out to any of us, any of my colleagues, you can send us emails to enquiries@10analytics.io, admission@10analytics, or our website, www.10analytics.io. You can reach out to us by phone, call any of my colleagues, Shay, Lydia, somebody would respond to you, or you can send us a WhatsApp message. But how do I register, Des? I want to get started. I want to secure the discount and I want to get started. All you have to do, click on this link. My colleagues would also share the link in the group. Okay, so just give me 1 second. So once you click on that link, it takes you here to the enrollment center. All right. The enrollment center is where, if you want to chat with any of my colleagues, you can do that. Just click on this. It opens up WhatsApp and you can chat with any of my colleagues. You can get full access to all the brochures. So if you want to look at the specifics, data science, the specifics in statistics, what am I going to learn? You can go through that in the nitty-gritties. And of course, you scroll all the way down to the program you want to register for. So say I want to start with Agile Project Management, for example. I click on Register for Agile Project Management. So select any of the programs you're interested in. You'd see the number of slots available. We currently have 11 slots available. In the morning, it was 20. I guess some people have registered already for the June cohort. So you want to take advantage of the discount so that you are one of the first 20 people to register for Agile Project Management. Take advantage, get in. So you'd see where and how you can get registered. If you want to make payments in multiple currencies, you can do that. If I want to pay in US dollars, all I need to do, come in here, click on the drop down and select United States dollars. Okay. So from here, I can see the discounted fee is $750, right? But if I'm making my payments in one installment, I get an additional $50 discount. So instead of paying $750, if I'm making a one-time payment, I pay $700. If I make a two-time payment, I also pay just $700. All right. But if I'm making a 5 monthly payment, for example, I select this. I want to start, secure my discount, secure my slots, get started, and I click on secure your seats. You can make payments in multiple currencies. Okay. If I want to pay in Canadian dollars, I can come in here, type in Canadian dollars, select that. And you can also select your option, one-time payment, 2 monthly payment, 3 monthly payments, and so on. If I want to pay in Naira, I can do the same. I come in here, I type Naira. You'd see the Naira, select that. It automatically does the conversion for you, okay? You can pay in any currency, euros, pounds. Say I want to pay in pounds, GBP, the Great British Pounds. I click on that and I would see all the different payment options, okay? Say I want to make 5 monthly payments, for example. So I want to secure my slot. I want to get started, one of the first 20. I select this and I click on secure your seat. So what happens? I make my first installment of £123 today. The next payment comes on the 10th of June, another £123, July, August, September. By September, I'm done making my payments. I click on proceed. I can enter my full name, enter my email, enter my phone number, and I click on proceed. Okay. I can pay with my credit or debit card, enter my credit or debit card details, and of course, I click on confirm payments. The moment you confirm payments, what happens? You receive an automated confirmation to the email you've provided. Okay. And then you get redirected to a registration form. Now, for some of you, maybe you can't fill the registration form immediately. And that's where the registration form gets sent to your email as well. So you can fill it later when you get back to your email. The link is there for you to complete registration. Now, for so many people, okay, the question is, oh, Adeza, can I secure my discounts now? But I'm not free in June. I'm free in July. Can I start in July? The answer is yes. We have a cohort also starting on the 5th of July. The advantage is you get the discount secured today because the discount would not be available in July. All right. So say I come to, and I'll show you how to do that. So when you make payments, your payment is confirmed, you get automatic confirmation, and you get redirected into this form. And this is the registration form for the June cohort. Okay. So all you have to do, fill all the details, click on next, type of payment, select it. If you've made initial payments, select that, click on next. Okay. Read the terms and conditions, click on yes, click on next. 8 months, 6 months, click on next. Enter your details, all the details, gender, enter that, click on next. So it's pretty much intuitive. Okay. You see, if you need to reach out to any of my colleagues, you have all the contact details right there. Click on next. When did you make payments? Select that. I made payment today on the 10th of May. Upload a screenshot of the payment. What mode of payment you paid using the website. You select that, click on next. Next. Now, this is where for some people, they're not entirely sure because some of you said, oh, I want to do data engineering. I want to do business analysis, or I want to do data analytics. I want to do financial analytics. You're not entirely sure. So if you're not sure of the program you want to register for, all you have to do is select, I need to speak to a professional. Once you select this, we organize something called a clarity session for you. So Judith joined a clarity session after she had secured her slot. She joined the clarity session and she asked questions around, oh, do I do business analysis or do I do data analytics? What do you think? So we don't tell you exactly what to do, but we guide you to selecting that right career path. But if you're sure what you want to do, okay, you can select any of the programs. I want to go for the full stack data science program. Okay, you want to become a data scientist, you select that. But if you're not sure, you want to speak to somebody, myself, any of my colleagues, select, I need to speak to a professional, click on next. Okay, when do you want to start? The next available cohort is on the 7th of June, but you can also take the advantage of securing your discount today and deferring your program to start on the 5th of July. You can do that, select that. If you want to start in July or you want to start in June, select that as well. You get started in June, on the 7th of June. Fill all the other details. We get all your details. We organize for you to get started on the date you have selected. Remember, the discount is for the first 20 people to register. And just to highlight very quickly, we got into the Alberta Catalyzer program. It is a program organized by the Canadian government, the Alberta government, on helping innovative technology startups to provide amazing value to its customers. So that's me right there. That's Efemena, the co-founder. We participated in this last year, October. And you also have the link. So for those who haven't filled the attendance, this is the last reminder. So if you click on the link, it takes you to the article on the Alberta, Catalyzer Velocity Program. That's me. That's Efemena. To see the amazing work we've been doing for Tenalytics, helps Africans and the Black community break into global tech careers and so on and so forth. Also, we got accredited by the American Council of Training and Development, and the accreditation link is also here. Click on that. It takes you to the ACTD website and you see Tenalytics right there. All right. So again, the beauty about working with us is your internship, your work experience comes from 2 amazing countries, irrespective of where you are. Where you get to do your internship with Amdari, the sister company of Tenalytics, registered, operates out of Alberta in Canada, also operates out of London in the UK. So there is gone are the days of, oh, I don't have Canadian work experience, I don't have UK work experience, because you have that with us. You also get the opportunity of listing 10 analytics as part of your work experience. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause at the moment and I'll take questions. All right, so I know there are so many burning questions. I'll take questions for the next 20 minutes and then we call it a day. As a beginner, would you advise I go for DA or DE? Andrew is asking. All the programs I've highlighted, the reason they are all 8 months is because they've been designed with the beginner in mind. You don't need to have any experience. All you need to know how to do, you can browse the internet, you can open a folder, you can close the folder, you can open files, close the files. You don't need to know how to do something extraordinary. You don't have a specific prerequisite. And you'd see that from the type of, testimonials and success stories. There are a whole lot more. I can't go into every single one of them because of time. Abigail worked with the FIRS back in Nigeria as an administrative officer. She came to Canada, she worked as a care worker, and today she's a business analyst with the government of Alberta after completing our business analysis program. You have Abisola, who currently works as a machine learning engineer with a company in the UK after completing our data science program. Fikayo works as a business solutions analyst after completing our full stack data science program. She has a background in finance and accounting. Okay, so you start to see professionals like you, no experience, no knowledge, but today Fikayo is doing things around data science, working with an organization. All right, so there are so many other success stories. You get all of that from my slide. I'm not going to bore you with that while I take your questions. Okay, so I hope that answers your question for the gentleman who asked. So it doesn't matter, you can select any of the programs and you do very well. Adun Olua is asking, you said there is no discount for July. Which cohort months have discounts? So the discount is not automatic. The discount is made available based on, is presented based on availability. All right. So a lot of people come to us later in the year, and say that, oh, Ades, I wanted to join. When I joined your program in February, it was at this amount because there was a discount, but now it's more expensive because the discount is gone. Unfortunately, the discount is gone at that time. All right. So you want to secure your discount at Duolua. The best time to do that is now that the discount is available. Once it runs out, the discount is off. I hope that answers your question. From my perception, I've noticed that there are more DADS openings than DE. Please, can you provide insight? That's a fantastic question. Now, there are more data analyst, data scientist positions than data engineering. And because of that, it makes the data engineering roles highly sought after. And I'll tell you why that's the case, Chidi. You really never had data engineering roles as popular as it is today, pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, so many organizations would have on-prem databases, on-prem data warehouses. But after COVID and the needs to work remotely, having distributed team members and employees across multiple locations, it became imperative for organizations to have a data warehouse. Okay. And because of that, the role for the data engineer now became highly sought after. So what you'd find typically are software engineers who started to learn the data engineering skills. Because as a software engineer, if you already know how to use Python, for example, all you need to do is to pick up some additional technologies and you can get to work as a data engineer. Okay. So at that time, the demand for data engineers became very, very high. Okay. And a lot of people run away from learning Python as a data engineer. So for the data engineering roles you have, the demand is always very high, number one. And number two, the salary is also, tremendously fantastic. more than the data analyst and the data scientist most of the time. Okay. So that's, the reason typically. So it's either organizations have already migrated into, a cloud-based infrastructure done by a data engineer or a software engineer who pivoted into that role. And that's why you'd find most of the time the data analyst and the data scientist roles are also more in demand. And again, the second reason is this. You would likely not have more than 1 to 2 data engineers in one organization because their role is to ensure that they interact with the stakeholders who need this data and make that data available. So once the pipelines are created, except there is something new, there's a new data source, there is a new pipeline they have to create, then they have to do that. But in an organization, you could have up to 100 data analysts. I worked in a company where every single unit had a data analyst. The commercial department had multiple data analysts. I worked in the management information systems department. We had about 8 data analysts on my team at that time. You have the energy department, energy management department. They had multiple data analysts and data scientists. And the reason is simple. Organizations that want to leverage data would need to have analysts across multiple departments and multiple units. And that's different from the data engineering role. So one organization might hire just one data engineer or 2, while that same organization would hire about 10 to 15 data analysts across multiple departments. So HR would have their own HR data analysts. MIS would have their own MIS analyst, data analyst, business analyst. Commercial would have their own marketing data analyst, and so on and so forth. Customer insights analyst. And that's why you'd see more demand, more numbers in terms of absolute numbers for the data analyst and the data scientist. I hope that answers your question. What happens if I can't attend the live session? Fantastic, Esther. Now, if you can't attend the live session, that's not a problem. Okay, so we've put measures in place to ensure that you don't miss out. Okay, so let's assume there's a live class that happened today. You missed that live class. What happens? There is something called, okay, before we go into the drop-in session, when you miss the live class, you have your class recording. That's the first step. So you go to the class recording, you watch the class recording, you know everything that happened in class, you bring yourself up to speed. And if you have questions, there's a WhatsApp group where you have your facilitator. All the other, participants are in that same group. You can send questions there. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, every Wednesdays, there is something called the drop-in session. So the drop-in session is like your makeup class. Happens every Wednesdays in the evenings. All right. So if you miss a class, you can join a drop-in session where your trainer would work with you in a more, one-on-one approach and bring you up to speed. Oh, this was what we did on Saturday. You missed the class, and they bring you up to speed, essentially. So that's what the drop-in session is designed to do. So you've watched the videos, but there are certain things you want to, get that one-on-one interaction. You join the drop-in session. All right. So the LMS is also there for you. Your watch me do it videos. You can come back. Everything you're going to do in class, you have it on your LMS. You can come back and watch, in a more, this is financial analytics, for example. I can come in here and watch anything I want to watch. Okay. And that's pretty much how you are able to get yourself up to speed, even though you've missed a class. It's never a problem because you have avenues to address that. I'm on a revoked skilled worker visa sponsorship as a carer. Can I succeed with this platform as a cyber security analyst? Absolutely, Okon. The direct answer is yes. Hillary, other than GitHub, what platform can one upload projects? What platform would you recommend? GitHub is the best in my opinion. Okay, GitHub is the best, but there are so many other platforms. Dari has a platform, for example. All right. So if you go to Amdari. So Amdari is a sister company of Tenalytics where you get to do your internship. You can create a profile on Amdari. So you can create a portfolio. So if you look at the Amdari dashboard, once you sign up, you can sign up for free, work on some projects for free. I think on about 2-3 projects, and then you'd have to pay. Okay. But you have a portfolio. So you can click on your portfolio. You have a portfolio you've created, and the portfolio would show key aspects about you, your work experience, total number of projects, and the type of projects you've worked on and you've completed. So you can share the link to this portfolio. If you click on this, you can share on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, or you can copy the link and you can attach it to your CV, or you can attach it to your LinkedIn as well. Okay, so this is another platform you can use. For some people, they upload their portfolios on LinkedIn directly. All right, but GitHub is the best, and I always recommend GitHub. Can one take 2 courses at the same time? No, it is not advisable because each program is intensive, is immersive, and you'd find it tough. No matter how intelligent you are, you'd find it tough taking 2 at a time. Okay, so let me take questions from people who have their hands up. I'll start with Moyo. I'll go to Wemimo. Okay, let me see if I can take, we have about 9 minutes for questions. So Moyo, please go ahead. Let me hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Moyo. How are you doing today?
Can you hear me? I'm trying to unmute.
Loud and clear. I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much. I'm presently in the February course,
Okay.
training on the data analysis. And
Okay.
I know we've been encouraged to start applying, but I
Yes.
want to ask, I know you mentioned it during this section now that never reuse the same CV for multiple jobs
Yes.
application. So how do I go about it? Because I'll be honest, it takes a lot because every job description is distinct.
Yeah.
Do I have
Yeah.
to start? I know some of your other sections I've joined, you talked about job analytics, in which
Yes.
you need to scan the job description with your CV, then you know what you need to add. But
Yes.
also, before I joined Analytics, there was a section I attended. I don't know if it was Agbolan, I can't remember his name, in which he walked us through how to go about applying for multiple jobs
Okay.
with the same CV, but there was a way he walked around it, picking, I don't know, I can't remember. This was just me getting to know Analytics before I joined. How
Yeah.
he did it, like there was a way he did it, he picked some things, added it together, I don't know. Then, I don't know, I just thought maybe there's a way you could throw more light into it, or there's
Okay.
actually a video, a section I can go back and watch from
Yeah.
the LMS,
Yeah.
how to
Everything.
apply for a job.
Yeah. Everything you can imagine, you already have it available to you. Okay. So if you join the session with ISOS, I think it's ISOS you're talking about,
Yes,
Abolaho.
yes, yes.
Yes, you'd have the recording available. So go to your classroom, check the dates that session happened, and you'd
And
find
the
it
thing is,
somewhere
it's not on the LMS. It's just a session like this, which
in
I
your
joined
classroom.
via WhatsApp, the Tenalytics group via WhatsApp before I joined Tenalytics.
Oh, before you joined. Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, yes,
I'll
just
show you where
like
you can get, I'll show you where you can get all those information. They're all on YouTube. But
oh,
in your
thank
own
you.
class, okay, you are in data
Yeah,
analytics. I'll show
yes.
you where you have all those materials, okay? So this is
Okay,
the dashboard. Go to data
okay,
analytics.
okay.
All right. So you'd see the program you registered for right here. Okay. You'd see ongoing lessons, completed lessons, mentorship program. Okay. Click on mentorship program. You'd see
Okay,
the program you've paid for. If it's data analytics, you'd find it there. Click on view.
okay,
It takes you to the mentorship programs under this particular program you registered for. Go to videos.
okay,
And under videos, you'd see interview prep, LinkedIn optimization, Upwork optimization, CV
okay,
optimization. So if you go to CV optimization, you'd see multiple sessions. How to tailor your CV with
Okay.
Adeza Suleiman.
Okay. Okay.
How to tailor your CV, job applications, your session with a Femena. You must get a job using ChatGPT to revamp your CV. So you have all these content and material. Just go to the LMS, go to
Okay.
mentorship, select your program, go to videos, and you'd see all these videos available. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. And just also to mention, Moyo, just in case of next time, if you have any questions at all, once you drop it in your WhatsApp group, your class coordinator would address that for you. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Fantastic. Okay, so let me go to Wemimo. Wemimo, please go ahead and let's hear from you. I've asked you to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi, Adeza.
Hello,
Thank you so
Wemimo. How
much
are you
for
doing
everything.
today?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And you? Thank you so much for
Very well.
everything. So my first question is, of all these courses that your organization offers,
Yes.
which of the courses would you recommend I do that will give me a higher chance of getting hired remotely by companies abroad? Considering
Okay.
the fact that I have experience to some extent in business analysis, data
Okay.
analysis, IT project management, and currently, functioning as a product manager, digital product manager specifically. So
Yeah.
which one would you recommend I do that will give me a higher chance of, getting, hired, getting job
Yeah.
remotely? Yeah, then my other two questions have been answered. The other one
Okay.
talks about flexibility, which you've answered it. And then
Okay.
creating a portfolio, which you've answered by putting a portfolio through Amdari or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's my question, basically.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So where are you joining from, Wemimo?
Yeah, I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria.
From Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. Fantastic. Because I needed that context. So getting I think looking at your experience in business analysis, IT project management, you said you're also
Product management.
a product manager. So
Yeah.
these are skills that are complementary in terms of some of the tools, some of the technologies you'd get to use eventually. From the top of my head right now, I would say the business analysis program would give you the best opportunity in terms of landing a remote job. Okay.
Okay.
So business analysis, because of the absolute demand for that particular role. Product management is also great, but product management is on the decline. If you read the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report, the one I shared at the beginning, product management is also on the decline. So between business analysis and IT project management, you have two amazing career paths that you can leverage in order to land a remote job. What I'll just say is the platform you are currently applying on would matter a whole lot. And if you're in Nigeria, I'll advise that you target the US most especially, and you apply to jobs on built-in. There are so many other platforms, but one I would say, I don't know, do you apply on built-in, Wemimo?
Oh, to be candid, I've not done that actually. I intend to, like do this one of the courses here,
Yeah.
and then apply. Then I need to optimize my LinkedIn profile actually. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm working
Built-in,
towards.
yeah, built-in is fantastic for those in Nigeria.
Okay.
Visa Jobs HQ is also fantastic, but Visa Jobs HQ is paid, is a paid platform. All right.
Okay.
For
Okay.
built-in, you can get amazing jobs. And most of the jobs in built-in, you have a lot of remote jobs. Okay.
Okay.
So
Right.
I would say you can start leveraging this platform. Or for any other person listening to me, built-in is a fantastic platform for
All
any
right.
of these roles. And what I'll say is project management I beg your pardon, business analyst number one, and then
Yeah.
IT project
That's
management
a
number
project
two,
management.
and
Cool.
targeting the US for those remote roles.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you.
You're welcome, Wemimo. Okay, so let me see if I can take one more question and then we call it a day with a question. Nemeka, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I've asked you to unmute yourself. Nemeka, how are you doing today? Okay, I can see you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. All right. So let me check the chat if we have more questions and see. And I also said I was going to show you. So any session we've had like this in the past, you'll get that sent to you at the end, just like Moyo said, you'd get it in your WhatsApp community if you're in any of the communities. Nikki is asking, does the cybersecurity course covers all aspects? Yes, it does. It covers the SOC, GRC, and pen testing. And then when you're getting into your internship for 2 months, that's where you specialize. You select one of those programs and you do your internship on them, one of the career path. So it's either you're doing your internship on GRC, you're doing it on Security Operations Center, or you're doing it on ethical hacking or pen testing, one of the two. Okay, so I'm going to show you our YouTube, and I want everybody, before the end of today's session, go on YouTube, search for Tenalytics. Okay, search for Tenalytics, go to Tenalytics and click on the logo, make sure you subscribe, click on the Tenalytics logo, and every single session we've had in the last 4 years, you can get them right here. All the amazing testimonials you can ever listen to, you can get them all here. Okay, so for Moyo, you said there was a session you joined with ISOSA. You want to go back to that session. If it was before you joined us, you can get that here on YouTube. Okay, so just look for the video, try to remember the dates. For example, if you click on videos, you'd see sessions we've had. That's the interview with Judith, and also with another gentleman called Pavel. Absolutely fantastic gentleman. Got a job as a healthcare data analyst. Pavel had done your data camp, data this, he's learned in other places. But he came back to us because he couldn't get a job. He didn't have a proper profile, a proper portfolio. One of the things, if we listen to the interview I had with Pavel, he was always getting feedback. He sent me his portfolio when he created it, and he asked for feedback. Oh, Adeza, what do you think about my portfolio? What should I change? What should I add? And I advised him on what to do, prepared him for his interview, even his negotiation, eventually helped him out with his negotiation, and eventually landed that job. Okay. And it goes back to say that 100% self-paced learning can be very difficult because you can't get those type of feedback. So this is where you get all the videos, all the sessions. Project manager versus business analyst. One of our experts took this session. I've held multiple sessions on different types of, career pathways and so on and so forth. You have them right here. If you also go to the playlist, you have access to testimonials. Okay, so Tenalytics job success stories.
That pressure.
Sorry. So if you click on that, it takes you to the Tenalytics.
Really helped me.
It takes you to the Tenalytics job success stories. You get to listen to amazing professionals who have landed jobs. Listen to Amaka. Listen to this gentleman right here, Pavel, Hope, Adetayo, Pikayo, and so many other amazing professionals. Lois, that's Judith right here. Judith was the one in the interview as well. Bukola, and so many other amazing people. All right. So this is where you can get access to all of that. Remember, the discount is for the first 20 people. Okay. So once you secure your discount, you get all the details, you fill the registration form. If you need clarity, select I need to speak to a professional. All right. You join that session. We set up the session for you. You join the session, ask all your questions, directed questions, and you get answers to everything. For some people, they decide, oh, I was thinking of data analytics, but now I think I'll go for the full stack data science. All right. So they reach that conclusion in a session like that. But if you are sure, you are compelled, this is what I want to do, you can also get to do that. Even if you've selected a program already, say you've selected data analytics, you can change that before the program starts, or even 2 weeks into the program, you can still change your career path to something else. All right. So Take advantage of the discounts. We have the early bird running at the moment. So Jay, check the testimonials. Like I said, I can't go through all possible testimonials. Adetayo, for example, Adetayo is cybersecurity. Okay, so Jay, go to Adetayo. He's number 12 on the list. How I got a job within 60 to 70% completion rate of my cybersecurity training. All the career path have success stories, all of them. And just go there, you see all the amazing testimonials. They're on my slide as well, but we can't take everything because of time. Okay, so many testimonials right here, so many of them, but we can't take everything because of time. Okay, for example, Idris, a data engineer, Sonia, a HR analyst, Chika, a financial analyst in the UK, Whistling, a data analyst. Vivian got 3 offers after completing her LinkedIn optimization. Ini is in Nigeria, did the data science. Ife did business analysis. You have Zainab, who is in Nigeria, got a job with Shortree. You have Shade, she did data science, and so many other. You have Solomon, financial analytics. Akintayo got a job as a CFO after completing our financial analytics program. Had multiple interview preps with our expert Nene, as she prepared him for his interview. You have Victor got a job after completing financial analytics. Same with Bumi, same with Afolabi, and so many more success stories. You have most of them on YouTube. You're also going to have them on my slide as well. And you can go through every single success story. So I'm going to call it a day at this point. We can't take more questions because of time. But if you've had an amazing time today, just type in a yes into the chat. If you got value for your time, type a yes into the chat. Type a yes into the chat. Type a yes into the chat. Fantastic. Always amazing when you spend your time with us, spend your Saturday with us, and we appreciate it. And thank you for spending time with us. I'd look forward to you starting on the 7th of June or 5th of July, depending on when you'd like to start. So how do you contact me? I'm on LinkedIn. Follow me, connect with me on LinkedIn, Adeza Suleiman. Connect with Analytics across all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. Or send us a message to any of our numbers. Join the clarity session. I'll be there with my colleagues, and you have the opportunity to also interact with any one of us. Have an amazing Sunday and an amazing weekend. And I hope to see you in some other amazing session before the 7th of June. All right. So cheers, everyone. And I look forward to working with every single one of you as you start your journey into any of this career path. Cheers, everyone, and have an amazing time.